Hello folks, welcome to the channel. My name is Carlos and today we're going to be looking at this Hamilton Ventura Edge that celebrates the second installment of the movie Dune. So this is the Hamilton Edge Ventura. This is a quartz watch. This is a watch that's kind of cool because it's based on the sand watch prop that Hamilton made on set for the second installment of the movie Dune. Now, while this watch is not exactly the same, this is the second variation of two watches that were released to commemorate this collaboration. And in my opinion, this is the coolest one out of the two with the most intricate details, the most interesting and unique design choices. And it's the one that I personally think fans of Dune comic books, movies, books, and pretty much all of the media related to Dune will probably love the most. Before we go any further into the watch review, I do want to mention that the good folks over at Hamilton were really nice and sent me this watch for review. At the end of this review, I do have to send it back to them. This means that Hamilton has absolutely no say in this review, and everything that I'll tell you will be 100% my unfiltered opinion. So Hamilton is a brand that's very interesting to me because it being part of the large Swiss watch conglomerate that is Swatch Group, it still manages to keep all of its American history intact and really kind of focus on a lot of their brand being sort of Americana and American military inspired, and somehow also really leaning into this American cinema Hollywood aesthetic. And I think these are all of the different intersections of the brand that create kind of like the perfect storm for something like this, the Hamilton Ventura Edge Dune limited edition watch, to basically become a real thing. Obviously, Hamilton has a long history of making watches for Hollywood movies, and being that the folks at Hamilton were brought in right next to the custom designers to design the desert watch for the movie, it only made sense that I was going to turn into a collaboration that both fans of Hamilton and the Dune universe could pretty much get to enjoy. Now, as you guys know, I like to start my watch reviews talking about fit and finish, and this is a watch that, in my opinion, has really good finish. It is a stainless steel case that has a really good amount of weight and presence to it. It is completely brushed. It has this really nice black PVD finish on it. Even though it's the Ventura case, it is modified enough to give it a little bit more of a sci-fi, hardcore tool, Dune kind of feel to it. The dial is another part of the watch that's really great in this particular edition because you can tell that it has been custom made to really intake a lot of the visual language from the Dune movies and incorporate it into the watch. And I think it's pretty cool because, well, it does have this pretty unique aesthetic that is unique to Dune. I think that it also reminds me of very sort of alien slash Geiger kind of design, and like you could actually live as a real watch in the Dune world. Like you could kind of see characters actually wearing this watch as a utilitarian luxury of the future. The other part that is particularly excellent about the dial is the custom LCD screens that have been created for this watch, which are really cool because there's not really any other watch that's going to give you this hour, minute, and second presentation. And the thing that really sends that display over the top is the custom lighting that they've done that basically whenever you press on the crown, all the numbers and the center of the watch will breathe with this blue glow that is supposed to represent the blue eyes of the Dune people that pretty much have those eyes due to the long exposure of the quote-unquote spice that's in the planet. Definitely a super cool visual effect that brings us right into that storytelling, right into that Dune universe, and something that, to be honest, has been executed amazingly from a technical perspective. I mean, the glow of this watch definitely makes the watch cool, and it doesn't feel cheap. It is strong, it is breathing, it is alive, it is very, very cool. Another detail that I really like of the case is the crown. The crown, I think, is really cool, and interestingly enough, is just a button crown. Like, it doesn't really twist or move in any other way, but by pressing the button, you can basically initiate the lighting sequence for the glow of the watch. You can also, just with that single button, set the time and switch between hours, minutes, or seconds view. But really my favorite part of the crown is just the shape, which I don't know if this was done on purpose, but they look exactly like those little beating drums that the characters use in the movies to basically put them on the sand and have the worms come to them so they can ride them. But once again, another detail that I think think that is really cool, where down to the crown, you see all of those details that tie this watch to the universe of Dune. The back of the case for this watch is probably where we're brought a little bit more down to earth, and we're reminded that this is basically a limited edition watch, and we see some branding, and it being a quartz watch, I don't know that the back of a watch like this being quartz really gives you a lot of opportunity for doing something cool, but we are seeing some of the movie branding and the limited edition, and I believe that since these are limited to 1,000 pieces, you will be able to see the particular number that you got when you purchase the watch. The watch comes strapped to a proprietary rubber bracelet that is super comfortable. It's really soft. It also has some details that allow it to blend really nicely into the case of the watch to make just the band and the watch feel like a complete unit and not make the band feel like an afterthought. The clasp does have some cool shapes and bevels and just an overall interesting shape to keep it tied to the overall visual language of the case, which is really nice. And of course, it has also the Hamilton branding. So as you guys know, I usually test my watches across 6 positions on the time grapher, but this is a quartz watch. So we don't need to do that. Assume that it's gonna be super accurate because it's not mechanical. So accuracy will simply not be something that we will talk as part of the format of this review. So let's talk about probably the most polemic part of this watch, and that's going to be the price. This watch retails on the Hamilton website for $2,500. Now, I know after I said that price, you probably clutched your pearls. You might not even be watching this video anymore, but if you are, thank you for not turning away. So before we dive into the heavy mental gymnastics that I as a watch addict would make to justify buying this watch, let's take a second to talk about who is this watch for. This watch is for folks who love collecting movie memorabilia and like collecting movie memorabilia that's actually created by high quality product makers. So think about it this way. The producers of Dune could have very easily had Dune watches made that were $60 Casios, and everybody could have bought one and they still could have been limited edition. However, they weren't content with that. They wanted to make a movie prop or a movie memorabilia that was made by a Swiss brand with history, with quality, with unique parts and components, with things that are specially made to actually connect the owner of the watch to the movie itself and to the creation of the movie. If you're not this type of person, it's going to be hard for you to justify the price of the watch. But if you are, let's get into my mental gymnastics. So the first thing to understand is that this is a limited edition watch. I believe that it's limited to 1,000 pieces. For this particular model of the Ventura, there is a lot of custom tooling and custom parts and everything that makes up the watch. We might never see it again. So in order to recoup the cost of all of that tooling, the watch was gonna have to cost a little bit more than your average Ventura. The other thing that we have to talk about is that collaborations automatically increase the price of the products. And that is because not only does Hamilton have to sell the watch and make a profit of the watch, but the folks from Dune also want their money from lending their name to the watch. That means that a certain amount of the price is what the folks over at Dune negotiated as part of the profit for this collaboration. If you don't agree with that technique, I don't know what to say. I mean, that's just kind of how capitalism works. If you think that this watch is expensive, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but at the same time, when I pull the watch out, when I think about what I know of what it takes to put these pieces together and the nature and cost of doing special tooling for something that you're not going to have available for a long time or are not going to carry into future pieces, is something that is very costly. And in my mind, when I picked up the watch and I looked at the details and I wore it and I spent some time with it, well, I still find it incredibly expensive. I do not necessarily think that this watch is overpriced. I think that it makes sense where the money goes. Believe it or not, once you get to spend some time with this watch, the price does make sense. However, it might still not be a watch for you. Therefore, it might not be something that you choose to purchase for yourself. All right, so let's talk about likes and dislikes. Honestly, I really like this watch. I think that this watch is amazing. I wish I could afford it because I do like the movie Dune, and honestly, I do like this watch and I do wish I could have it in my collection. At the price range, I think that there's other things that I would like to get first. But I'm hoping that like in the next couple of months, year, if this watch don't completely sell out, that hopefully we start seeing some pretty nice discounts at ADs and other places on the internet. It's hard to pick a particular thing about the watch that I really like because this entire watch is really just movie memorabilia. It is really the lighting and the button, the crown action, the time presentation. Like the entire watch is just really cool. And I think that the Ventura was actually a great case to put it in because it's a watch that is already very cool and very avant-garde to begin with. So it's really hard to say anything negative about this watch other than the fact that the price just is going to make it something that not everybody's gonna want to get. But if you are one of those persons that interested in get it, I think that you're gonna love this watch. I think that if you're gravitating to this watch for whatever reason, whether you're a big fan of the movies or you simply just like the watch, if you take the plunge into it, I think that you're gonna be very pleased with what you get. It just has to speak to you. As far as dislikes, I don't really have any major dislikes for this watch. Every single part of this watch is put together thinking about how to incorporate the Dune universe into the watch, and nothing about the watch really seems lazy or like there was some shortcut or like they use some stock part from a pile of parts to just finish up the watch. Everything seems incredibly accounted for and calculated, which makes it really hard to find a dislike in this particular watch because it is simply an awesome product. However, the one thing that I would like to mention that I think people should keep in mind is that unfortunately Hamilton did not send me the packaging for this watch, and usually I wouldn't care about that, but the packaging for this watch is also really amazing. So if you get a chance, look at other YouTube videos of this watch where you can see the packaging, because the packaging honestly is something that people who are buying this watch for the value of the movie memorabilia aspect of it, the packaging is just a continuation of that story, and it's really high quality, and honestly it's an amazing way to display the watch in the case along with maybe other things that you collect. I happen to have like a Ghostbusters Proton pack that I really love, as well as other movie memorabilia. If I was to purchase this watch, I almost feel like instead of it spending so much time on my wrist, it would probably spend more time on display next to my other movie memorabilia. All right, folks, so that's pretty much it for this review. Tell me, what do you guys think of the Hamilton Ventura Edge Dune Part 2 collaboration, special edition, limited to 1,000 pieces, going at a whopping $2,500. What do you guys think of this watch? What do you guys think about this idea of mixing horology and watch memorabilia? Are there any particular watches from Hamilton that are part of like this cinematic Hollywood universe that you guys also like or like to collect? Let me know your thoughts on the comments. You know, I really enjoy reading them. I really put a lot of effort into answering every single one of you guys because I really like connecting with you and having these conversations and learning from you guys as well about, you know, your different takes and opinions on these things. By the way, thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. If you like this video, please take a second to give me a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm this close to having 1,000 subscribers, which means that I am very close to monetizing this channel, which means that I will be basically getting paid the equivalent of a cup of coffee every 2 months for the videos that I make. How exciting is that? But in all seriousness, guys, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys on the next video. See you.